Hey everybody, thanks so much for being with me here again today. Today's video we're going over the root. And this was inspired by a conversation that I had with somebody recently who was dealing with abuse from her significant other, but really it was his abuse from his narcissistic mother that was causing that. And she wanted my perspective because I too have a narcissistic mother, and it brought me back to a moment in my life where I did in fact exhibit highly narcissistic traits to hurt my wife. And in that moment, in that conversation, it initiated change where I understood what was happening, but I couldn't control it. And then I sought help for it. So my wife and I had just gotten married, and we're having a conversation late one night where we're just kind of talking about the future, and we're talking about growth. My wife loves to talk about, our goals and our dreams and our aspirations, but she also likes to pursue growth and actually achieve those things. So we're having a conversation like this, and what happens to me is sometimes when the spotlight is on me, I start to feel backed into a corner a little bit. I shut down a little bit. But this time in particular, all I felt was rage and anger swelling up. I just felt resentment, like the conversation was more attacking rather than supportive. And instead of expressing that and letting her know what was going on in my head started to do this thing where it said to me, hurt her back. And maybe you've experienced this before, but it was a very powerful, all I could think about was getting some sort of revenge for what she was doing to me. All I felt was that she was hurting me and that I had to somehow hurt her back. And in that moment, I still remember I just turned to her, and without saying anything or being even malicious, I just went, F you. And this caught her off guard, completely, not surprisingly. And she started saying something again, and I just went again, F you. And in that moment, I knew exactly what I was doing. And I knew that what I was doing was manipulating her. I was trying to hurt her because I felt like she was hurting me, and my only goal was to make her feel as bad as I was feeling. We separated to different rooms for a little bit, and we came back and we talked about it. And she encouraged me that if I don't go and get some help and figure out what just happened, that she didn't know how much longer she could deal with that. This was so bizarre because I had never done anything like this before. While I had exhibited some anger, I've definitely had times where I get angry. I'll get angry at little things. I'll let things really get under my skin, and then I will take them out on the wrong people. And so I did. I decided to go to an anger management course. I think it was 10 weeks, and we'd meet up once a week, and we had a booklet, and we'd do exercises, and we'd talk, and we'd share. By the end of it, even by halfway into it, probably 4 or 5 weeks in, one thing became perfectly clear. The root of a lot of my anger was my mom. And I had never considered that before. I had never considered that the reason why I was so angry was because of how I was being treated. And that I was internalizing a lot of this. And by internalizing how I was being treated, it would then manifest in anger being projected outward, but not towards my mom, because I knew better than that because of the way she trained me, that she was not deserving of that hatred, but I would direct it towards anything. I remember, my wife and I joke about it, but I literally remember one time we went to get coffee at Starbucks, and I think I got a bagel, and I had the bagel in the car on the glove on the compartment right here, and I'm turning, and the bagel slides and goes right in between the seat and the compartment, you know, that little spot there, and the cream cheese is like, it's funny now, but in that moment I lost it, and I literally floored the gas pedal. And we're probably zooming down the street. It's probably a 45, and we're probably going 70 miles an hour. And she's screaming at me, like, what are you doing? And I'm not blacked out or anything, but the rage over that, which is nothing, versus I get emotionally and psychologically abused over here, and there's no rage at all. It's just internalize. So what I think is so important to go over is the fact that, yes, my 20 plus years of abuse did manifest into narcissistic behavior at some point. And I chose to take that out on the person I love the most, thinking that was what you should do. And if I think about it from the other end, my mom suffered at the hands of her father. My grandpa is somebody I don't have a close relationship with because she doesn't have a close relationship with him. But in the times that I've met him and in the understanding of how she was raised, the little that I know, I still get a sense of that's where she gets it from. And instead of looking at that and going, this is wrong and this is not how I'm going to treat my loved ones or my children, she decided to go another way with it. She decided to let it consume her and to let it be who she is now. And at this point, I don't think she's ever going to change. Fortunately, I was in a position where I did have a choice, where I could either let it consume me or I could change. And I changed. And it doesn't mean that I still don't have to work on it. It doesn't mean that it still doesn't come up from time to time, because it does. This stuff runs deep. And you all know that. I know that. And you got to be on your guard. So think about what you've been through and think about where it creeps up in your life and how it causes you to either be mean to yourself or be mean to other people because either you don't understand it or because you're just not being mindful of it, right? You might know that you do these things, but you need to be careful because it can consume you if you're not careful. So take some time to reflect on that. Leave me a comment down below if you want to share. If you want to share in any of that, I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to help in any way I can. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.